Maybe by increasing their quota allocation to maybe 1.5% of the national quota, it will make absolutely no difference to the larger fishermen, but it will make the difference between communities dying and communities surviving for island communities, and I think that's as well worth doing and well worth pursuing. The island communities have worked very hard to try and sustain their livelihoods and to sustain life on the islands, and the islands is very difficult to survive there, and what we should be doing as a nation and as a state is making sure that the island life and island community and basically traditional island life is made as easy as possible and as easy as can be under the difficult circumstances we have to do, because in reality the success of us as a nation will be how we treat people that are not have the same advantages as people who live in Dublin and living within D4 and everything else and that there. And we have to treat our traditional methods of fishing, traditional methods of life in a way that respects them and allows them to progress and to provide a livelihood for themselves and their families on the islands. I'm sure the Minister would agree that life on an island is difficult enough without having to fight constantly against the officialdom within the country to ensure that you can survive. And fishermen have constantly battled, and they probably haven't been as effective as the farmers in terms of making their case and fighting their case and over the livelihood of this country, and then the fishermen are diverse as well, and the island fishermen are probably the weakest sector in terms of the whole fishing community, and they need to be defended, and I think we need to be ensuring that they can survive and they can continue to work at what is a traditional method. And when you look at the island communities, I think landed 0.85% of our national quota in 2018. That's a minuscule amount. And and maybe by increasing their quota allocation to maybe 1.5% of the national quota, it will make absolutely no difference to the larger fishermen, but it will make the difference between communities dying and communities surviving for island communities, and I think that's as well worth doing and well worth pursuing. And I must say that the IIMRO, the Island Fisheries Producer Organisation, have done a lot of work in the meantime as well to try and ensure that they can survive and they can continue, and they have met a lot of the grounds or tried to meet a lot of the grounds that the Department has put before them in terms of how they be a producer organisation and how they can be recognised under the fisheries requirements that the Department has. And really and truly what has ended up, they've hit a brick wall, because one of the criteria that the Department has said that there's a mandatory criteria for recognition of them is that 30% by weight of the total production should be landed into a major port across the country. Now, that's fair enough if it's actually there, but from what they have said and all that they have done in terms of trying to meet this, they have never come across that 30% requirement anywhere, and it was introduced as being at the last stage when they actually thought that they were getting places. And I think that is a problem. And Minister, and yourself and your department officials will say, well, the last thing we need is another producer organisation in Ireland that we have to deal with. But the reality is that this would be a producer organisation that is working on behalf of the fishermen that they represent, and some of the producer organisations are that big, and there's so many different sectors within it that they don't speak with one voice. But this would be speaking with one voice, and I think it would be vitally important, and it's beholden on us as a DAL and us as a government and us as a department to facilitate people as much as possible, and I think that's where we should be going down the road. And I would ask, Minister, that maybe you would consider after today's debate and that actually meeting with the Island Fisheries Organisation themselves to explain just the criteria that they have. They've gone a lot of the way to try and meet all the requirements. They might be able to go the rest of the way, and if you would meet with them and explain to them, maybe that might go some way towards actually progressing as well, and I think that's vitally important.